Hey guys, this is Sticks and Stones again. This is going to be our introductory course into Jiu-Jitsu. This is our course that we run all of our brand new students through. If you're also a white belt that really doesn't know what's going on, this will be a really basic, simplified version of our basic positions and where we're looking to get. Okay, so let's get started. All right guys, so our very first position we're going to go over is our guard. Okay, we've got 3 guards that we're going to run through. We're going to start with the open guard. So open guard is pretty simple. It's whenever my legs are open, okay? Whenever we've got an open guard, I don't have any grips necessarily at the start. I need to make sure I've got my feet facing towards my partner. I'm trying to curve my back and get my shoulders off the mat. That way I can move my body. All right, so as my partner presses towards me, look, my feet need to try to make contact with my partner, okay? So my feet are looking to go to the hips or maybe the shoulders, okay? When I'm doing this, I always like to frame into my legs, okay? We'll go into frames a little more on our escape day. So when I'm framing, I'm gonna be putting my elbow on the mat, putting my hand right on my thigh, making a C grip. If I don't have this here, Anna can push my knees in and crunch me up into a ball, which isn't always gonna be a good option for me, okay? So I'm gonna frame into my hips right here. This way, if she pushes into me, I get some reinforcement with my legs, okay? Just to get started with this one, I want you guys just to step on your partner. They're gonna push into you. I want you to pick your butt up a little bit and let them move you around, okay? And what you're gonna do is you'll naturally follow the person, okay? Whenever we play an open guard, we generally look to get grips and connect with our partner, but just for starting purposes, you need to be able to hold your partner up, okay? So if Anna pushes into me, an exercise I like for people to do is they'll actually push in, and I'll actually bend my knees a little bit, and I'll pick my partner up, and then push them back and sit up, okay? One of your very first skills you need to learn from an open guard, especially if you're here for self-defense, I need to be able to push my partner off of me and stand back up on my feet, okay? So if you aren't much of a guard player, you at least need to know this so that you can get knocked down and then get back up effectively, okay? So again, my feet are on my partner's hips. I'm framed under my legs. Remember, we can step on the shoulders wherever. And once they get close enough, this is when I'll let go of those frames and make grips and make contacts, okay? So after our open guard, we're gonna pull right into our closed guard, okay? My legs are gonna open. I'm gonna pull my partner down to their knees and lock them in, okay? So closed guard is defined by my legs being closed around my partner's waist, okay? If you notice, my ankles are locked in tight. I'm not down here below their butt. I need control of my partner's center of gravity, which is right below their belly button, okay? The main advantage I have with closed guard is that I can pull my knees to my chest and break my partner's posture, okay? Posture is defined by Anna's head position over her hips, okay? So if the head is in line with the hips, my partner has good posture, not good for me, okay? Anna wants good posture. I want the posture broken down. This is how we can start setting up attacks and submissions and things like that. But if she has good posture, it will be difficult for me to get any offense going, okay? In the closed guard, Anna is looking to keep her hands on my torso, stopping me from pulling her in. You can see her arms act as a frame. It makes it difficult for me to get her down right here, okay? Partner's on top. You can see Anna's wide with her knees and she's up on her toes, okay? That way, if I knock her backwards or anything, she'll roll over nice and easy and not hurt her feet, okay? So again, good posture for the person on top is her goal. My goal is to break posture, and this is where we can start setting up attacks such as sweeps, submissions, or back takes, okay? Now, if Anna's able to start to push my leg down right here, and she starts to step over my guard right here, this is where I'll start to try to lock up my half guard, okay? So half guard is my bottom leg. Usually you might need to move on this one.
Yep.
Coming around the back. So my bottom leg is gonna hook over my partner's leg right here, okay? You can come back around now, Houston. Shoot. What this does is this traps my partner to me, and it allows me to stay glued to them, okay? Now, as they do this, I'm gonna take my knee, I'm gonna bring it in to my partner here, okay? We call this a knee shield, all right? When you're in a half guard, you can lock up down here, but when you're new, we really recommend you put this knee into your partner's sternum, okay? You can have it low, you can have it high depending on the scenario, but I really recommend keep it here in the center or up high, okay? If you can connect your feet as well while you're doing this, it's gonna give you a little more control and stability, okay? So the point of this position, my bottom leg is hooking me to my partner, the top leg is creating a frame, okay? Just like my arms were creating frames earlier, my legs can also do the same, okay? In the half guard, I like to stay crunched up and on my side. Very important, okay? We'll go over what happens when we get flattened in a second. I like framing on the far shoulder, and my other hand will just occupy at the bend of the elbow or down at the wrist, okay? This gives me a lot of options. If she pushes into me, I can push over and set up attacks from here. I can also just use this to keep them away from me, okay? So if she ever tries to crowd this space on me, I can always extend my body away and get my knee back in, sorry. Okay, so again, in half guard, I've got a lot of options from here, but the main goal is to create distance and keep myself safe, okay? You can play from this position as a guard, or you can use it to get back to any of the other positions that we were just working on, okay? Half guard is usually your last line of defense, okay? So we've got the open guard at a far distance, we've got closed guard, and then the half guard. That's just gonna be the basis of our guarded positions. All right, guys, so when we're in the top closed guard position, okay, this can be a really frustrating position for you when you're first starting out. The first thing we're gonna cover on our next lesson is actually opening and passing this position. So when I'm stuck between my partner's legs, like I was saying before, Anna can pull me down very easily, and whenever my hands touch the mat, bad things generally happen. A good rule for you guys when you're first starting out is do not let your hands touch the floor, especially in the closed guard. That's how you can get arm barred, you can get cored, you can get choked. All these things we'll go over in the next few courses. So if Anna does pull me down and maybe I'm caught without this, my arms are gonna catch at her biceps, okay? This allows me to push up on the arms, and now from here I can start to get my posture back, okay? What I'm simply gonna do is I'm gonna climb and get my hands in position, okay? Before I was telling you to simply put your hands on your partner's diaphragm, what I like to do is I like to lean away. I'm gonna take one finger between my partner's lapels and grab together. From here, I turn my palm down, I flare my elbow out, and then I push myself tall, okay? When I do this, this gives me a really good frame, and it makes it difficult for them to break my grip due to the fact that I'm grabbing both lapels, okay? If you were doing no gi or the gi was opened up, you could simply put the lapels together and do it, or you could go palm in the diaphragm, okay? Again, this grip will give you much better options. My other hand is gonna simply frame into the hip. You can make a pant grip here just by grabbing, but I'm trying to straighten my elbows out. And now always, always, always keep your head up tall, okay, so your posture does not break. It's easy for your posture to get broken if your head is looking down. So I always like to pick a spot in front of me and look. And then from here, we're looking to open the legs up in one way or another, okay? We're gonna go over a few options over the next couple days, but once we open the legs, we're gonna look to pass around the guard into our side control. All right, so whenever we're in the half guard position, it's an interesting position because the player on bottom has a lot of good options, and then I also have a lot of good options on top. Some people like to get the half guard just to play and set up attacks, and some people like to get there to pass the guard. So it really comes down to the person that knows how to control the inside space and has more knowledge, okay? Anna's really crunched up here. She's got all of her frames in tight. If I start to pressure into her, she's got all of her defenses up, okay? My goal on top is to take these away, so we're not gonna go into that too much today. We'll do that in our transition day. But we're looking to separate the knee shield, get inside of this space, and look to use our chest to flatten our partner, okay? From here, we'll look to start getting our underhook, which is where we go under our partner's arm, and our cross face, where we hug our partner's head, okay? Once I flatten my partner, I can start looking to clear my leg out and enter into the side control position, which will be our next segue. All right, guys, so now that we've covered all of our guard positions, we're now gonna go over why we're trying to get around the guard. Once I'm around my partner's legs, AKA their guard, I'm looking to start isolating my partner's upper body, okay? So we're looking to control the shoulders and the head to start looking for submissions and transitions to better positions, but you don't know what those positions are yet, ideally, okay? So first one is gonna be side control. This is generally where you land after you pass your partner's guard. So I've dropped to my knees are glued in tight to my partner's body. If Houston, you come back around here, I'm gonna be up on my toes, okay? So my toes and my feet are close together, but my knees are wide. This gives me a good base, okay? So I need my toes activated so that I can drive into my partner. You'll hear your coach probably say active toes frequently. It's something you'll need to do, or they'll tell you when to flatten them out, okay? So when I'm in side control, my partner is gonna have their frames up, which I do not want ideally, okay? So we're gonna work on how to get rid of these frames over the next couple days, but what I'm looking to do is to move these frames out of the way so I can get chest to chest, okay? We're looking to pin our partner, which means keep both shoulders flat to the mat, okay? Now, a good way that we can do this is by achieving a cross face, okay? So once I've pulled my partner's arm out of my hip right here, I'm gonna step my knee up really high, and I'm looking to really smother my partner, okay? So I'm gonna get my arm underneath the head. We call this a cross face, okay? With your cross face, you can simply connect your hands here, okay? With your other arm underhooking. If you have long enough arms, I really recommend you pull the shoulder and catch in your partner's armpit and pull them under you. This will really allow your crossface to turn their face away from you, giving you more control, okay? This other arm, like I was saying, is an underhook. Underhooks are whenever we go underneath our partner's arms, okay? Both of these concepts will be used constantly throughout your jiu-jitsu, so make friends with cross faces and underhooks, okay? From here, I don't wanna keep my head up the way that I am right now. It'll allow her to start framing under my neck and make it difficult for me to make pressure. I ideally want this on either side of my head. I'll also turn my head down and take away the space, okay? When we're in side control, we're generally looking to transition to other dominant positions, which we'll get into in just a moment. All right, guys, so now let's cover what we're looking to do on the bottom side control position. When you're new at jiu-jitsu, you will spend a lot of time working escapes and how to get out from underneath somebody, which we will cover during our escape day of your basics, okay? But your short answer right here is, I don't want my partner taking all the space up and crushing me. See, she's inside of my arms right here, and she's controlling the inside space. If we rewind just a second, my arms are my frames, okay? I wanna try to get these placed in between me and my partner before they get on top of me. If you notice, if she tries to crush me now, my frames almost act as like a lifter, okay? So if Anna's trying to crush me here, I can actually push up with my elbows, and that creates space for me to start to use my legs to replace my arms, okay? So whenever we're in a bottom position, you're gonna look to always frame up and make space to get your legs back in, okay? Your arms buy time for your legs to get in because your legs are much more effective, okay? So again, I'm trying to keep my arms in between me and my partner so I can make space and try to get back into a dominant position, okay? If you don't get your frames in place, you will get crushed and you will have a bad time. All right, so after our side control, our next natural progression will be into the mount position, okay? Again, mount is another pinning position where I'm trying to keep both my partner's shoulders to the ground, okay? Generally, when we start to go into mount, we set it up from a side control so that we've got a cross face and an underhook, which gives us significantly more control. We are gonna just show you the basic position here when your partner does not have those controls on them, okay? So first, when I'm in a mounted position, I don't want my partner's elbows inside of my legs. I ideally want my legs inside of their arms, okay? This will give me more control. With your feet, you can be up on your toes or you can be flat footed. If you come move around here for me, Houston. So for initial control with your mount position, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start to push our knees back, and you have the option of hooking in with your legs, or you can cross your feet together. This will allow me to drive hip pressure into my partner's diaphragm, making them uncomfortable, but it also allows me to make them carry my weight, okay? If you notice, I'm putting my hands on the floor and bowing my elbows out like a bulldog. This gives me a good base, so if Anna starts to try to buck and roll underneath me, it allows me to control and keep myself on top, okay? Once we are in control of our partner and we don't feel like we're gonna get bucked off, I can start to get my underhook or in my cross face and my underhook on my partner's arms. And now we can start to work the arms up the body and move ourselves higher up into a high mount, okay? So when I'm in mount, I'd rather sit on my partner's chest because I can start making them uncomfortable, putting my weight in their diaphragm, makes it difficult for them to breathe. We've got easy submission opportunities up in this position as well. If you notice, when I was lower on my partner's hips, it gives them more ability to start bucking their hips up in the air and off balancing me. And this is generally where all your escapes will happen, is in this low mount, okay? So long story short, low mount is bad for me, good for my partner. High mount is my best friend and not good for them at all. All right, guys, so now we're gonna cover bottom mount position, okay? So like I was saying before, my partner wants to keep their knees squeezed in tight here. I do not want this, okay? Anna's job is gonna be to move up into a high mount on me, which is where she moves really high up on top and she starts to sit into my diaphragm. If you notice, my voice starts to change when she does that, okay? So rewind. So you need to get your frames in place in the mount position, okay? So basically what we teach people is like a T-Rex arms. You get your arms tight to your body and keep them glued in right here. One thing I really like to teach new people is to put your arm across your partner's belt right here. You only need one frame in to stop them from moving up. So I put that elbow in the hip, my other hand cups over at the hip over here, okay? My other hand, I actually want to frame inside of my partner's knee. So I actually move my body over and tuck my elbow in between, and then your hands should be able to touch. So I almost make a 90-degree angle with my arms, okay? What this is gonna do, this is gonna set me up for turning on my side to escape. So same thing with side control. I don't wanna be on my back flat. I wanna start trying to bump and get my partner's hands to the mat so that I can start getting on my side and getting my legs in, okay? We'll go over a few different escapes you can do, like trapping the ankle to get back to half guard and things like that on our escape day. But what you're mainly looking to do is to keep those frames in between you and your partner. So as they try to crush you and move higher up on you, this allows you to bump and get your legs back in between. See how I got my knees back close to my body? Anna's trying to take this space away from me, okay? So she's trying to separate my elbows from my knees. My job is to get my knees and elbows back together. All right, so now we're on to our last dominant position. So we covered side control and mount, which are both pinning positions. Now back control can be a pin if I can get my partner flattened out, but generally speaking, when you're on the back, you're not looking so much to pin, you're looking to make yourself a backpack, okay? So when I'm on the back, what I'm looking to do is to get the chest to back with my partner, okay? So my chest will be glued to my partner's back. Now once I'm here, you notice I've got my feet over my partner's legs, okay? These are gonna be my hooks. When I get my hooks, I dig my heels in and try to pull my heels to my butt. This glues me into my partner's hips and allows me to apply hip pressure into their back. Now, if I don't have any upper body connection, they will just simply get up and get away from me at this point, okay? So it's important that we get a seat belt, all right? So a seat belt is where I get one underhook going under the arm, and then I've got a choke arm coming in on top, okay? So what this does is the underhook gives me the ability to stop my partner from scooting out underneath me because I've got control of the shoulder girdle, and then my choking arm stops them from bridging and pushing their weight up above me, okay? It's very important you understand your arm controls on the back because we've got different arm configurations we can do on the back, but they require different feet positions, okay? Your basic foot position is again gonna be heels pulling in tight. I don't want to cross my ankles. It's kind of easy for your partner to pop your ankles here. They can cross their feet over your legs and they can apply bridging pressure and hurt your ankles, okay? There's other spots we can cross our ankles, but on top of the hips right here, just simply hook in, okay? Now, once we're on the back like this, I want to pull myself in tight. So my choke arm is blocking Anna's head on one side and my head pulls in tight on the other side. I don't want all this space here. This gives them room to get their shoulders to the mat and start to escape. Okay, so when I'm on the back, I pull in tight. You should be ear to ear or cheek to cheek with your partner, okay? Once you're here, we can start working the arm around the neck, and this is how we can set up some of our basic submissions. So now, whenever my partner is on my back, we can't exactly frame in a traditional sense that we would with our other positions, okay? The first thing I need to always do is I always need to be mindful of this top arm. That top arm is what my partner uses to submit and choke me generally, okay? So when my partner's on my back, we're gonna look to control the arm, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually grab right here in my partner's wrist, and I'm gonna try to cover the hand the best that I can, okay? Now I'm not, listen up real quick, I'm not grabbing the fingers while I do this, I'm holding at the hand, okay? So when I hold at the hand, it's the end of the lever and it gives me more leverage. If I were to just reach up and grab really high up on Anna's arm, she could actually still sneak her arm around my neck and start setting up submissions on me. So I like to hold as far down as I can. My other hand will grab as close as possible, okay? From here, my elbows tuck in tight and I keep my chin tucked in, okay? This gives me some control of my partner's arm and then I can start mounting some type of escape, okay? Whenever you're here, you're gonna look to get your hips or your shoulders to the mat, okay? So when we're in the back control, we're not usually sitting up like this. This is simply for teaching. We generally fall to one side or the other, and this is where we'll start to try to scoot our legs out, pop the arm off, and then we can start mounting some type of escape. All right, guys, so that's just gonna be our basics for day one. Not too much information on day one. We mainly want you to understand your basic positions. We're gonna slowly build on these basic positions over the next few days, okay? Our day two is gonna be how to transition between all of our positions. How do I get from one spot to another spot? Day 3, we'll be working on how to escape our bad positions and how to use our frames properly. And Day 3, we're going to show you what a submission looks like and how to tap properly and keep yourself safe. Okay? This is our first installment in our 4-part series. We'll see you guys on the next one.